All right, there's a saying out there that a trader makes their money before they even place a single trade. So what does that mean? Really, all the things that happen to planning and routine that leads into a trade. So we're going to explore that here with Jack today and get right into it.
So we're going to be talking about how to build a habit of technical preparation on a daily basis, something that is going to become so ingrained in you when you get to the trading desk. It's going to be like breathing. It's just part of what you do. If you think about athletes and doctors, all of them have different preparation schedules for their profession. Trading is no different. Most traders, when they begin trading, they just don't know what they don't know. I remember when I first began trading, there's just so much you need to understand before you even go about trading. You're not even thinking about what you should be doing for the market prep, because really you don't even know how to trade or what to even prep for. Now I have a strict routine that I'm going to be sharing with you guys in this video as far as what I'm doing every single day, just like a kicker would going into a NFL game on a Sunday. He's stretching his hamstring, meeting with his coach, hitting different field goals from different yardages. I am planning out and making myself aware of, my opponent, the market, and you need to be doing the same. So we're going to share our insight over the years of experience to help you guys, as our viewers, grow in your own trading experience. And Rob, if you want to talk about, really what are the things, some of the struggles that you had as a beginning trader and how you've overcome them.
Sure. I think a lot of it is kind of what you're saying. It's just really not knowing, and no one really talks about it and getting it going. And probably because it is kind of unique to different individuals, what they do before they get up and what works for them. And a lot of it is kind of trial and error and figuring it out. But I will say at least the first step is kind of getting your mind to realize that these things are important. That just getting out of bed and looking at the top gainers or looking at some news and then 15 minutes before the market open is not going to lead to your success. So that's really kind of step one, is that you should really be collected and calm, and at least be sitting there at least 30 minutes before the market open with no distractions. That's something I think anyone can do if you put your mind to it. And then we'll kind of get into some other more specific things, but I would say the first step is to realizing that you got that the breathing room, the time before the market opens. There's going to be anticipation and excitement. Get those emotions under control, get your plan nailed down, and we'll get into that here more detailed here.
All right, let's crack straight into it then. I'm going to go ahead and actually share my screen here for a little bit. Before I do that, one quick note, guys. If you don't have one, get a notebook. I have a notebook on my desk, as well as, I can't show you what's written here because both it's actually passwords and stuff. But loose leaf, like a loose leaf, I grew up with my dad taking notes on this stuff, and I would just have a notebook. Now, I'm not like saying, hey, you got to journal every trade, this or that. But if you're used to taking notes on your phone, guys, keep your phone off your desk when you trade. I think that's really important. Our attention spans are so terrible these days because Instagram's at 15 seconds. We're constantly looking for stimulation. You need to be in the zone. So I don't recommend taking electronic notes on your phone. You need a pen and paper. And also, there's a lot of studies out there to prove that it just holds better in your memory when you are actually.
Not to get off topic, but the action of writing, something with the brain and the synapses, it connects it more better for you. So anyway, that's a little off topic there.
Absolutely, dude. You're spot on there. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And what I'm going to show you guys first, all this is just a news calendar. And if anybody wants this news calendar, just go to forexfactory.com/calendar.php, or you can just Google Forex Factory calendar. And what this calendar does for me, so what I trade 6 different markets. I can actually show you guys those markets that I trade. I will trade a lot of other markets, but mostly like I'm looking at 6. So I trade futures. I'm not a stock trader, to be clear, but I'll trade gold, oil, NASDAQ, S&P, the Dow, and I'll trade the VIX. All of these markets are typically affected by the same news events. So those are the news events I'm going to share with you guys here. If I can pull it up again. Here we are. So, and that's these news events. A lot of them, they're predetermined, like their speeches, economic releases. And occasionally you'll get some of the unpredictable news events, like a tweet from Donald Trump, or like China, like a report about China trade deals. Those are all unpredictable news events, and there's no edge. All you can do is play it when those come. But there's a lot of news events out there that I make myself aware of every single day. So in the morning, I wake up, I make it a rule to be at my desk at 7:30. Now, the cash market doesn't open till 8:30 in Chicago. I'm at my desk at 7:30. I don't start trading till I've reviewed the market for at least 20 minutes. So that means if I sit down at 7:30, then I am not going to start trading till 7:50, because a lot of times, unless you've previously done analysis and you're at a specific level that you've determined maybe the night before, you're going to get to your desk, you can be super eager. Your mind really hasn't even freshened up to what's going on. And maybe you see news flash across the screen that like Apple reported great earnings and you're pounding the keys. Absolutely not, guys. You got to be out of that impulsivity. You have to be planning your trades. So part of my plan every single day is going through this news list. And tomorrow is going to be Wednesday. So I'm just going to show you guys the news that's going to be impactful for Wednesday for me. So we have, let's see, it is, actually today is Wednesday. I lied. So tomorrow's Thursday. And
I was sure.
A little screwed off with my days. So yeah, always check the date. That's also super helpful. But at 8:30 in the morning.
Step one, know what day it is.
Yeah, you got number one thing you need when you prepare is to know what day it is.
Yeah.
This isn't scripted, guys. This is off the cuff. But the Red Star events here, so these are all ranked by like what Forex Factory thinks is going to be the most impactful news event. So you're going to have red, orange, and yellow, red being the most impactful. At 8:30 tomorrow morning, we have PPI for the USD. So that's there's a folder here that can pull up like all of the detail. Like I don't really care what each of these numbers do, but tomorrow that number will be released and it will affect the market. Also, we have Fed Chairman Powell testifying. That's at 10 o'clock. That's also a Red Star event. And there's also a lot of other speakers for the Fed. FOMC member Quarles. These are all people who are determining the interest rate. So every single one of these events has the potential to move the market. So you need to be aware the times are coming out. So if the market starts moving, or you're looking to be in or out of position by a certain time, you're aware of that. So that's number one, guys. So one of the things you need to do, number one, make yourself aware of any available information relative to the strategy that you're trading. For me, it's knowing the economic news events that are going to affect that day. If you're a stock trader, you need to know, is there an earnings report coming out? Also, you should, especially if you're trading like a big stock like Apple or like anything in the Dow, those are all going to be affected because everything is so related to like ETFs, whether you're the SPY or the Qs for NASDAQ, that like those heavily weighted stocks, if you're trading like larger cap companies, they're going to be affected by the overall sentiment of the market, which is going to be driven by these news events. So that's super crucial. If you're trading small caps, you need to be aware of some of those things that small cap traders are aware of. Rob can probably speak to that more than I could.
Yeah, I'd like to get in that real quick. These counter events, especially the red ones, yes, I still pay attention to them. I probably, for small cap trading, we're a little bit insulated if something is unexpected on that front, but it's still crucial to kind of look at it to make sure, especially when there's FOMC or Fed chair type stuff. Those are kind of big events, the ones in the red. The other ones I'm not really, concerned about as much as maybe you might, Jack, but it's just nice to know what's going on basically, for everyday starts. You don't want to be unprepared, be in a position, and then one of these events happens, and then something unexpected does happen. Even in the small caps, it could still affect you, even though, like I said earlier, you're a little bit more insulated to major market news because small caps kind of play by different rules here and there.
Absolutely. One of the things I want to share that next is really just like technically speaking. I'm just going to go over one market, it's the S&P 500. Regardless, if you're trading stocks, you should be looking at the S&P 500 hands down. It is, the biggest basket, the futures specifically. A lot of people will like look at the SPY. I say look at the futures. The futures have a higher notional liquid value, meaning like basically there's more money getting traded on the futures, and they're open around the clock. A lot of times you'll see like patterns where you'll get bids around certain time frames. Like for the last 2 nights, we've gotten a bid out of the European Open. That's not something that you're going to see if you're only looking at the SPY chart, because the SPY chart doesn't have that data that goes around the clock like the S&P futures do. So I use Thinkorswim, but most brokers, I think even TradingView, if you don't pay for TradingView, it's a 10-minute delay, but you can still look at the general picture. 10 minutes delay isn't a big deal if you're looking at an hourly or a daily chart, right? So if you don't have Thinkorswim, I would use TradingView. The ticker in Thinkorswim is ES. You probably look it up, whatever broker you have. But I am going to start, at whatever product I trade. And, say I'm trading the S&P 500. If you're trading a small cap stock or if you're trading a large cap stock, look at least a daily chart, if not, a higher time frame. Because if you go out to a weekly chart here, what are we at, Robert? Can you tell me right now? What are we at in the S&P 500?
All-time highs.
All-time highs. All-time highs. And a lot of times with all-time highs, you actually have smaller moves in the market because volatility is decreased. And that's the situation we have here. The ranges still are pretty big, but, we have had this is the week 3 of an all-time high breakout, meaning, 3 weeks in a row with new, what, Robert?
All-time highs.
There we are. New all-time highs. So if you're not in this market, you are missing out. But you need to be aware of that larger picture.
Right there.
Yeah, doesn't that look pretty?
It's pretty clean, actually, the breakout. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's pretty clean. So, my analysis is kind of, on the screen here. I'm clearly not going to go into all of my analysis in this video because that's a whole nother lesson for a whole nother day. But I just want to show you the process that I'm viewing. So I have larger targets that are on a higher time frame. That's all the way up here at 3150. If you're trading a stock, you need to be aware of, okay, where do you think, when we break into all-time highs, nobody really knows where the top is, right? But have we broken out of a multi-week high? Have we broken out of a multi-week wedge? If you're not looking at that, you could be getting in a stock that could be, have a major resistance level right above it or a major support level right below, and you're trying to short into a 52-week low. Like shorting into a low, like not a good idea. Shorting into support, but so you need to be aware of those levels. So I would recommend first going to a weekly chart, then to a daily chart, and then you can move down your time frames from there. But those are super important time frames to review if you plan on holding forever. Now, if you're just a trader who goes in and bangs a trade out for like the next 20 minutes, like I don't think that's a realistic way to make like a great living if you're just like taking trades for like 20 minutes scalping all day. Like this isn't the early 90s. Scalping is a really expensive way to trade because your P&L risk reward ratio is typically very low. And unless you're like, I personally don't know too many scalpers, or like really I don't know any scalpers. I know most of the traders that I know are looking for bigger moves, and the bigger moves are going to be coming on breakouts on higher time frames. So if you're only looking at a 5-minute chart, like that would look like this. This is a 5-minute chart, right? I'm not seeing the bigger picture of what's going on. So that's really like some of the best advice I could have for you guys. And Rob, what I want to hear from you is like, when even though you're trading like small caps, like is the Russell more important to you because it's like a small cap basket? Like, tell me about how you feel those markets like help you prepare, what you like to do.
Sure. Yeah. Basically what you're saying about well, first of all, Jack here is kind of converting a little bit of some of the things I look at just by doing this with him. So basically looking at the ES futures instead of the S&P. Generally, I look at the S&P and the Russell and kind of look at the differences there between them on the daily or even the weekly. If the Russell is bullish, even more so than the S&P, that's a sign to me that there's more risk on. If there's parity there, okay, but it's a little like gauging the temperature of the water before you get in every day. So I look at, again, the Russell and the S&P. Others may look at other things to gauge certain things. But that to me kind of gauges overall market sentiment with risk on versus risk off. Basically, if risk is on, hey, small caps, they might, nothing for sure, but it might give me a little bit of a hint that, okay, maybe if I see something hot, maybe I'll hold a little bit longer or keep some on, meaning keeping some shares on, right? But one of the things I really want to talk about with preparation is watch list building. We do that for you here at Iconic Traders. We have a watch list every week for free. A link is below.
Click it.
Also, yeah.
Hit that.
And sign up for that if you haven't. It's totally free every week. There's movers on it that are just gold. And we break down levels, what you should think about. If this happens, do this. If that happens, do that. Right? So that's the free watch list below. But but you don't really want to just depend on what we do. You want to do it too. And one of the main things that I struggled when my watch list was terrible. I would spend a lot of time on my watch list in the beginning when I was trading, and then I would go in and see what would happen, and it wasn't that good, right? But and don't get discouraged. That's going to happen to you. Just keep doing it. Look at our watch list. Keep building yours. See what happens. Look at the top gainers, the top losers every day, and kind of compare that to some of the things. Now, it's quite normal even today for me to make a watch list and then something happens, like with what Jack was showing on a calendar, maybe something unexpected happens, and then boom, my whole plan is out of the water, right, from the night before. Very normal, no big deal. That's when you want to depend on pre-market scans, the top gainers, and maybe that day not go as aggressive, right? Because your plan is kind of out of, but you have to be able to improvise as well. See the opportunities. Okay, and really a lot of that just comes down to experience. The more charts you see, the more times you plan, execute, something may unexpected happen, but you made money anyway, then that's going to go in your brain. You're going to remember that for the next time you may see something similar. So stay in the game, stay prepared. And the longer you're in there, preserve that capital, the more that your brain will remember these things, and you'll get better and better and better.
Awesome. And we want to hear from you guys too as well. What has helped you? What do you have questions about? Leave your questions and comments below, guys. We love doing these videos. We love helping you guys out. So let us know what questions you guys have for us. And I don't know if my chart's on the screen anymore, but IWM is not at an all-time high. So that would be, that'd be one of those ones that I'm going to gravitate to. I actually just set an alert if we break out highs of the year. I mean, we're still pretty far off the all-time high. The IWM is the Russell ETF, so it's a small cap ETF for those of you guys who do not know. But you can see nice big wedge here. Nice big wedge.
So it breaks out there. I mean, yeah, it needs some volume.
Top side of it, yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
well, yeah, guys, definitely. Please, if you got something that you do that works for you, like Jack was saying, leave it below. Any questions, I answer them. Jack will answer them. Others will answer them for you. And thanks so much. Like, subscribe. There's a whole bunch of links down there below. If you're new to trading, have no idea what the heck is what or what we do or why we do it, first link is our free training. It's a little bit over an hour, packed with information, totally free. You can sign up. We have classes running every 15 minutes there, our free masterclass. So with that, thanks, guys. Thank you, Jack, and see you next time.
Hey, take care, guys. Later.